Hi, this is Vinny back with you for the final, which would be the install. And before we go any further, I just want to let you know that I've already installed the 9 standoffs on the motherboard tray for our motherboard. And some of the things I probably should have pointed out when I was pointing out the cable routing areas is that all of these are nicely beveled, and this will prevent you from cutting yourself, you know, on the metal edges. It's very well done, and it'll make it easy for you also to route your cables. Nothing gets snagged on there. It's smooth to the touch. And the motherboard standoffs went in very easily. This is a very thick chassis, right? I believe I mentioned the weight was a little over 15 pounds, but this motherboard tray it's got some thickness to it. It's not flimsy whatsoever. And the standoffs, the areas to screw in the standoffs were very well threaded, which meant that it was extremely easy for me to screw these in and tighten them down without any problems whatsoever. So now that we've got those in, the motherboard tray will be ready for the motherboard installation. But before I do that, I'll be installing my power supply. And in this case, it's 1250 watt, 80 plus gold certified. It's modular, as you can see, and which will make things easy for me too, because I'll only have to plug in the actual cables I'm going to need for the installation, so I won't have any existing cables laying around in the bottom of the case that I don't need, that will get in the way or hamper airflow. So just something to be cognizant of if you're thinking about buying a new power supply. Take a look at the modular ones. Make sure the one you purchase is modular, and you'll be glad you did, because it'll save you time and effort, and having this stuff and route cables out of the way that you aren't going to be using. It's pretty simple to install your power supply. The spot at the bottom is raised off the case floor by 1/4 of an inch, and it has that pre-installed filter. And in this case, you know, it's a bottom-mounted power supply, so we'll be installing it with the fan in the down position. This way, it'll suck air up through the bottom of the chassis and through the power supply to keep it cool. So basically what you do is you just place it in here. There's a little ledge that you have to get by, right? Slide it in, lift it up so it's on top of that 1/4 of an inch ledge that raises it off the floor. Slide it forward and send your cables through this routing hole right here at the bottom, and then out the other backside of the motherboard in the respective places where you're going to be plugging them in. In this case, we've got a 24 pin, which is the power to the motherboard, and the 8 pin, which is also power to the motherboard. The 8 pin will be plugged in up here in the top left hand corner, and the 24 pin will come out here and plug into the motherboard, as you'll see when we get to that part of the install. But this is fairly simple. You just, like I said, slide it in and push it back to the back of the chassis. There's 4 holes at the back for you to secure the power supply to the case. So with that being said, let's move on and install our motherboard. Okay, we're about to start our installation on our motherboard. As you can see, the power supply went in really nicely, and I've got 4 screws in the corners. Also, I wanted to point out that all the screws in this package are chrome plated, so they really accent nice against the design of the case. But all 4 have been put in and secured the power supply at the bottom. And what we're going to be doing next is putting in the I/O panel dust cover for the motherboard. This particular one is for the Asus Sabertooth 990FX, and really simple to install. You just place it on the inside, line it up with the window, and give it a little push. Whoops. There we go. You'll hear it click in once I get it lined up correctly. There we go. And that's that. So your dust cover is now installed and ready for placement of the motherboard. Let me spin this around. Basically, what I have to do here is lay the case down on the motherboard tray side, and then gently bring in the motherboard, line it up with the standoffs, the 9 standoffs, and at the same time gently nudge it back towards the dust cover on, and line up the I/O panel with the dust cover. And once that's lined up and all the holes are lined up, just screw it down. Okay, with the chassis placed on its side, right, I dropped the motherboard in nice and gently, slid it over, and let me see if I can get a close up here of one of the corners. As you can see right here, the holes are lined up with the standoffs. Right, once they're all lined up and pushed against the dust cover, right, then all that's necessary from here is to put in, there's a good shot, put in all 9 screws, and that'll complete your installation on the tray of your motherboard. Okay, so what we're going to be doing next, now that we have the motherboard installed, is installing our video card. I've already run all the necessary cables that I'm going to need to complete the build. My 24 pin is already connected. My USB 3.0 is already connected to the motherboard, and I've pre-routed the cables for my optical drive up top, and also pre-routed the cables for my hard drive down here at the bottom in the hard drive cage, and also the cables for the video card. Installing the video card is really quite simple. First we'll take out the 2 screws that hold the locking tab out here. Pull it towards the case, remove it. That exposes all of the expansion slots. Then we'll take out the 2 screws in the spots that we need to install the video card. Remove the covers. Get the second one out here. we go. Take the covers out. Let's take our video card, line it up. There we go. Simple little push. It clicks in and locks in. Then all we need to do from there is reinstall the locking tab and put the 2 screws back and connect our 6-pin power to both spots on the video card. There's one. Try not to block your view here, so there we go. And there's a second. So that completes the installation. Just put the screws back. Pretty simple. And the video card's installed. Next we'll do the hard drive. Remember I spoke to you about the toolless hard drive rails? These just snap on to both sides of your hard drive. Let's line up the pins with the holes, push them on, and just from there just slide your hard drive in till you hear it click, and that's done. And then we'll go around to the back, or I'll go around to the back and install the SATA power and SATA data cables, and the hard drive will be finished. Next thing we'll do is we'll install the ODD drive in the front. Okay, installing the ODD drive is relatively quite simple. Just push on these tabs on the inside to release the bezel. Starting at the bottom. And this will swing open, right? You can actually remove it. And up at the top, there's some tabs. Just push in on the tabs, and it'll pop out the dust cover. Really quite simple. Line these up on the motherboard tray side. They act like a hinge. Swing it back in, lock it into place, and you're ready to slide in your drive. Here's the optical drive that I'll be putting in. Just take it, place it in the top. Slide it in gently. It's clicked in place, and you're done. Then just like we did with the hard drive, I'll just go around the back side and connect the SATA power and SATA data cables to the hard drive, and that's it. I have to say I'm really pleased with this case, and if I didn't know better, I would have thought I was working on a full tower. That's how much room there is on the inside which is really exceptional for a mid-tower chassis. The additional width really made a big difference as far as cable management. I was able to close the door on that side with no problems at all, and cable management is literally got some weight on this thing now. Cable management is literally a breeze. I'm extremely pleased with how easy the setup was on this, and as you can see, it's a nice looking chassis, and cable management is really nice. We're going to have some really good airflow through this case. And I thank you for joining me on this review, and I hope I've covered everything in enough detail. And if not, feel free to join me on the site hightechlegion.com, and we can discuss it further on the forum. So until then, we'll see you on the forum. And thanks.